Premier League season is back, and just like that, we're just straight into the games, straight into the thick of it. No time for crying over Wednesday night's performance in the Super Cup. Obviously, as well as we played, that's what happens in football sometimes, and it doesn't matter who plays the best. It's which team wins at the end of the day as well. So straight into Premier League action. Saturday game, bit of a strange one because normally I know PSG are playing on a Sunday. Obviously, I know it's not Thursday night football, so they don't have to move it. But you'd think maybe they give us a couple extra days to let us play on Sunday instead. But it is what it is. Saturday, 3 p.m. It's going to be good to see how Thomas Frank actually balances these games because obviously that's something he's never really experienced to a high level. Obviously, I know he's played midweek games before, but when we go into the Champions League, we want to be playing top level and then going straight into a Premier League game at the weekend. And this is exactly the example now. We're coming up against a Burnley side, Burnley at home. Yes, obviously just been promoted. I think they've obviously lost their goalkeeper. I don't know about their transfers in and out. I don't know any massive players that are coming. Obviously, Carl Walker is probably the biggest name. But we are expected to beat them. But let's not forget Burnley's record last season in the Championship. Yes, of course, it's the Championship. So it's a step below, but they had a crazy amount of clean sheets. I think it was might have been a record. Don't hold me to that, but I think it might have been a Championship record as well. So obviously they've got a solid foundation at the base. Of course, losing their goalkeeper is absolutely massive. I think he saved a couple penalties during the season as well, but it shows at least they got a defensive foundation that they're clearly going to look to build upon in the Premier League. And of course, coming away to a team like Tottenham, they're obviously going to sit back, soak pressure, and try and catch us on the counter attack. So it's going to be good to see how Thomas Frank actually, what plan he puts together for this. Of course, surely he's not going to play three at the back like he did yesterday, but I could stand corrected. Might be an ultra aggressive three at the back, like with a Jed Spence as a centre back or something. I don't know, but I'd expect he's going to play over four anyway, because yeah, as I say, Burnley are going to be sitting in soaking pressure, looking to catch us on the counter attack. But it's going to be interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, maybe let me know in the comments if this is a thing that I'm sleeping on. But I'm guessing as Brentford manager, he probably wouldn't have experienced teams coming in and sitting against him because, with all due respect to Brentford, there's not many teams that probably would have viewed themselves as going over to Brentford to get 3 points. So his experience of breaking up teams is going to be interesting to see how he deals with that. Because obviously, let's get it right. A lot of teams are going to come to our ground this season and probably park the bus. Not a lot of teams, 5, maybe more, maybe a few more, are going to park the bus, soak pressure, and hit us in a counter attack. So it's going to be seeing how we can break down teams like that. Obviously, the key to them sort of situations is scoring early. Obviously, of course, easier said than done. But if we score early, then it makes them come out of their shell because they're not gonna sit back and defend a 0-0, are they? So defend a 1-0. Sorry. Um, yeah, I don't know, tough one, man. You just obviously you don't know where the confidence is gonna be coming off. Sorry, that's going absolutely crazy. Um, you don't know what the confidence is going to be like coming off the back of that game. I'd hope there's a lot of confidence though, because yes, obviously we didn't win, but we still played very well, and it probably gives you belief in the manager that okay, he's got a plan for the best teams. So if he puts a plan together for the worst teams, we're gonna follow it. Maybe that's what I'm hoping. Maybe come from that. Of course, a few players might be a bit disappointed not to get any minutes. Brendan Johnson didn't come on. Wilson Odebear didn't come on. So if they come into the starting lineup, maybe they're looking at it thinking, well, you didn't play me in that game. So I'm hoping that they're absolutely chomping at a bit, champing at a bit, whatever you say, to come in and really make their mark. Let's not forget, Brendan Johnson was our top goal scorer last season. Yes, of course, I know he's got a lot of things that he needs to improve on, but scoring goals is the hardest part of the game. And I think maybe in that 2 up front yesterday, Brendan Johnson probably would have been a good shout to come on because he gives me more straight traits of a striker than he does a winger because he can arrive in the box, get goals in that box anyway. So Brendan Johnson's got to be fuming, really. So hopefully he gets a start or gets some minutes and he can get a couple goals and show what he's really about and make Thomas Frank really think about issues because we're looking to bring in more wingers. So that's just going to be Brennan Johnson falling down the pecking order. Same with Wilson Odebear, actually. Going up against his former club, he's not going to only be sitting on the bench, is he? And surely he's going to have a point to prove to say, look, I left you guys. I'm now a European champion. You guys are not on my level. So let's see if Wilson Odebear gets in the starting lineup. Yeah, obviously, I'm not going to predict formation because Thomas Frank's got a world of his own. I'm guessing it's going to be the 4-2-3-1, but I guessed that before the PSG game, and it was a three at the back. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how he breaks down the team. In terms of score predictions, I'll take anything, to be honest. I'd say maybe we score 3. I don't know if we keep a clean sheet. 3-0, 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, one of them two. I'd love that clean sheet and a win. It just stinks of, obviously, it stinks of a 1-0 Burnley win, Carl Walker assist and a Marcus Edwards goal. Obviously, let me touch wood, pause, to ensure that doesn't happen. But come on, you're not a Spurs fan if you don't see that happening at all. Yeah, in terms of obviously the pre-season predictions, I want to get into this now because obviously it's good to do it now because that way I can come back at the end of the season and say, well, at the start of the season, I was expecting to get this. We finished here. Did we overachieve? Did we underachieve? Then we can base our argument off that. In terms of Premier League finishes, let's be real. We are not better than Liverpool. We're not better than City. We're not better than Chelsea. Obviously, we're not better than that team down the road. Well, I'd like to believe we're not any. Well, obviously, I'd like to believe we are, but let's be real. I don't think we are. They spend a lot of money. They pay big wages. They've strengthened massively. So, 6 years into the manager's project as well. So there's 4 teams already ahead of us. Manchester United are looking. They're not looking strong, but they brought in some very, very good players. So Man United could be a dark horse. 1 game a week as well. So let's not forget about that. Teams like Newcastle, Villa, yeah, I expect them to be in and around us. So anywhere 5th or 6th, 6th. Obviously, I'm not going to say I'm happy with, but let's be realistic. 6th is probably what we can achieve. So 6th, 5th is probably the next best. Anything higher than that is an overachievement for me. Anything below that, anything below 7th, I'd say is bad. I'd say minimum we need Europa League football. Obviously, as we've shown now, it's a competition we can clearly win. So of course, I'd like to be back in the Champions League, but you've got to be realistic. If you look at the other teams, as I mentioned, so yeah, I would say 5th, 6th. I'm happy with in the Premier League. I'd like a decent cup run. Of course, I'm not stupid, so I don't believe we're going to win the Champions League. As much as I'd like to come here and say, yeah, we're going to win the Champions League, but let's be real, I don't believe that. So I'd like to definitely see us qualify, get into the knockout stages of the Champions League, quarterfinals. I'd be happy with. Obviously, if we get, as long as we qualify, that's a success in the Champions League, I guess. This is just on realism, guys, as well. So don't be killing me saying, "Oh, you ain't got no optimism." Like, let's be realistic. What do you want me to say? I want to win the Champions League. Like, it's not gonna happen. Obviously, I'd love it to happen, but once again, I don't believe it's gonna happen with the team we've got. We're still in the Thomas Frank's first season, so I like a decent run in the cups. Obviously, Carabao Cup, we got to the semi-final last year. We beat Liverpool in the first leg, and then we got absolutely pumped. Obviously, yes, we did have a massive injury crisis at the time, but we got absolutely pumped at Anfield. So I'd like a decent run in the Carabao Cup semi-finals, final. If we get to the final, of course, we can win it. FA Cup, knocked out by Villa last year. What was that, like 5th round? I'd like to go further than that this year again. Once again, if it's a type of final, quarterfinal, semi-final, final, I'll be happy with that. Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments as well. Where do you expect Spurs to finish? Am I ranking us too low? Am I putting us too high? Obviously, I know after the Bayern game, I've done the reactionary. We're not going to finish in the top half, but after seeing what happened at PSG and seeing that Thomas Frank is clearly not just going to be wedded to this 4-2-3. I wasn't expecting him to be wedded to a system, but maybe he thought, okay, we can go on this 4-2-3-1 now that I've got a better team. We don't have to change as much. But yes, this is still Tottenham Hotspur. We're not one of the biggest clubs in the world. So let's hope Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Where we should finish, what cups you'd like to target. Where do you think about the Champions League as well? Do you think we get out of the groups? Um, Score predictions, everything. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. I'm actually away at a wedding this weekend, so I'm not even going to be watching the game live. I'm just going to be watching the updates. I might try and get it on my phone. Hopefully, if I can get signal in there. Um, so yeah, I won't even be back to chop it up straight after the game. But mate, we come back Sunday. We'll talk about it then. We'll just dissect it all. Hopefully, after 3 points, clean sheet, and head into Manchester City away with 3 points in the bag. Let me know, as I said. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please smash like, hit that notification bell, and all of that. And we'll be back with plenty more Spurs content. Come on, you Spurs. Peace and love.